Hi, I'm Paul. I've been working on your bike. Just want to say thank you first for bidding on the Auction of Promises at IGS. Great cause, so thank you very much for that. Just want to take you through a few things I've done to your bike. I've given it a good clean and a good check over. Starting at the back, the chain and cassette were pretty dirty, so I've taken those off and completely degreased them down. Took the free hub apart. There's quite a bit of gunk in there, so I'll send you a couple of pictures of the kind of the before and after. These Hope hubs, super nice. You can hear that, super nice and clicky. These things should last forever. The guys at Hope are amazing. So that's all nice. There was one little issue with this, in that this little spacer here was sat behind the cassette, and I don't think there's any need for that on this free hub. That spacer is designed for a dedicated 11-speed Hope free hub, which this hub won't take, so that space is not needed. And it meant that the lock ring that sits inside there and holds your cassette on wasn't quite holding the cassette on properly, and was only catching the first few threads. It had actually torn one of them slightly, but when I took this spacer out, it grips nicely and holds the cassette on, so you shouldn't have any worries on there. That's all cleaned, lubed, put back together. Your rear mech is a little bit, it's getting a little bit old and floppy. The springs are a little bit, could be slightly tighter, but I've lubed them. Lubed your jockey wheels, and it's holding the chain quite nicely now. I think at some point down the line you maybe might want a chain and cassette. Front rings look okay, but I think you've got a few miles left in there yet, so it'd be a shame to change them before you need to. At the front here, your bottom bracket was a little bit loose. I thought initially it might be at the end of its life, but I think I've managed to take up the play with the by adjusting the tension on the bearings, so that kind of looks okay now. So I'd just keep an eye on that. There's a little bit of play in your pedals, but these Look pedals I think are a little bit renowned for it. You probably don't feel it when you're riding. Front mech all fine. The cable was super frayed on the underside here, so I replaced that. I think you might have only got a few more rides out of that, so you saved yourself there. Brakes wise, these guys were a little bit kind of gunked up, so they weren't kind of returning to the sprung back position properly, and they needed centering slightly. So I've cleaned and lubed those, and they work nicely. Very similarly at the front, this guy was just not moving evenly on both sides, so I've changed that. I was a little concerned over your front skewer. As you can see here, it's pretty rusty, and I was concerned over these threads at this end, and you really don't want this thing to let go. So I just happened to have a nice shiny black Hope skewer kicking around in the drawer, and that matches your front hub really nicely, so I'll chuck that on there for you. No problems, no issues on the rear one. Forks and steerer. Now I was getting a little bit of noise out of your headset bearings, so I kind of looked to tension them up and maybe lube them if I could. Bit of an issue. You can see there's quite a bit of corrosion here. These are alloy forks, and there's been a bit of corrosion, and when I took the spacers off the stem up here, there was a little bit of corrosion there, and the aluminium of the steer tube had gone a little bit furry, which meant I could only just remove the spacer stack. Couldn't remove the headset top to check the headset. The corrosion there is a bit of corrosion in there, some rust in here on the crown race. It might be something that you want to get checked out at some point. Obviously aluminium corrosion's not the best, and I wouldn't want your forks to let go. I'm not saying that they're dangerous or anything, but you can see there's quite a bit of surface corrosion under here. Might be something that you want to get your local bike shop to check out. A new pair of forks probably won't break the bank, I wouldn't have thought. Tidied up the cables a little bit, got these little bad boys put back in here so the cables sit nicely on the frame, and the rest of it looks good. So let's I'll give it a final polish. I've given it a road test, and it rides really nicely, and we'll get it back to you for the weekend. Happy riding, and thanks again.